They're not supposed to exist. Railways that defy logic. That seem more like carnival rides than serious transportation. That make you question whether the engineers were geniuses or completely insane. But they're real, they're operating, and you can ride them today. These aren't your typical scenic railways. These are trains that climb vertical cliffs using nothing but gravity and water. Trains so steep your seat tilts to keep you from falling over. Trains that run through people's living rooms. And trains that exist for reasons so strange you won't believe they're true. This is the story of the 10 weirdest European train rides of all time. And I guarantee you've never heard of most of them. Before we count down these bizarre railways, let me explain what makes a train ride truly weird. Because it's not just about being unusual or scenic. Weird means something that shouldn't work, but does. Something that violates your expectations of what a train can be or where it can go. Something that makes you think, why would anyone build this? And then realize the answer is even stranger than the question. These 10 railways all fit that description. They're engineering marvels, they're historical oddities, and they're all rideable today if you know where to find them. Some of these railways were built for practical reasons that no longer exist. Others were built for reasons that never made sense in the first place. And a few? A few exist purely because someone decided we should put a train there without asking whether they should. But all of them survived. All of them are still operating. And all of them offer experiences you can't get anywhere else in the world. So let's count down the 10 weirdest European train rides, starting with number 10 and building to the single strangest railway on the continent. Number 10. The Wuppertal Schwebebahn, Germany. Let's start with a train that isn't really a train. The Wuppertal Schwebebahn is a suspended monorail that's been running since 1901. But here's what makes it weird. For most of its 8-mile route, it doesn't run over a street or through a tunnel, it runs over a river. The train cars hang from an overhead rail suspended 40 feet above the Wupper River, swaying gently as they move. Imagine riding a train where you look down and see water flowing beneath you, where the train sways in the wind, where it feels more like a ski lift than public transportation. That's the Schwebebahn, and it's not a tourist attraction. It's a regular commuter service carrying 80,000 passengers a day through the city of Wuppertal. The system was built because Wuppertal is a narrow valley city with limited space for conventional railways. So engineer Eugen Langen proposed suspending the railway over the river. It seemed insane, but it worked. And it's been working for over 120 years. You can ride it today for the price of a regular public transport ticket, about €3. The full journey takes about 30 minutes. And yes, it's as strange as it sounds. You're riding a train that hangs from a rail, swaying over a river in the middle of a German industrial city. Weird doesn't begin to cover it. Number 9. The Lynton and Lynmouth Cliff Railway, England. This railway in Devon, England, is powered entirely by water. No electricity, no engines, just gravity and water, and it's been operating since 1890. Here's how it works. 2 cars are connected by a cable, one at the top of a 500-foot cliff, one at the bottom. The car at the top has a water tank that's filled with 700 gallons of water. The added weight makes it heavier than the car at the bottom. Gravity pulls the heavy car down, which pulls the light car up. At the bottom, the water is emptied and the process reverses. It's brilliantly simple and completely weird. You're riding a train that's powered by water weight, no fuel, no electricity, just physics. The railway was built to connect the cliff-top town of Lynton with the seaside village of Lynmouth below. Before the railway, people had to walk down a steep path or take a long road around. Today, it's still operating as both transportation and a tourist attraction. A round-trip ticket costs about £5. The journey takes about 90 seconds each way. And watching the water tank fill and empty is almost as interesting as the ride itself. It's Victorian engineering at its most elegant and most strange. Number 8. The Stoosbahn, Switzerland. The Stoosbahn, opened in 2017, is the steepest funicular railway in the world. The maximum gradient is 110%, one of the steepest rail gradients on Earth. To put that in perspective, most railways consider a 5% grade steep. Mountain railways with rack and pinion systems might reach 25% or 30%. The Stoosbahn reaches 110%. The cars are built with tilting floors so passengers don't feel like they're falling over. As the train climbs, the floor adjusts to keep you relatively level. It's disorienting and fascinating at the same time. The railway connects the valley floor to the mountain village of Stoos, climbing about 2,400 feet in just over a mile. It was built to replace an older funicular that couldn't handle the increasing tourist traffic. The Swiss decided that instead of building a longer, gentler route, they'd just go straight up. Because why not? Riding the Stoosbahn feels more like being in an elevator than a train. You're pressed back in your seat as the car climbs at an angle that seems impossible. The views are spectacular, but honestly, you're too busy processing the experience to fully appreciate them. Tickets cost around 30 Swiss francs for a round trip. And yes, it's as weird as it sounds. Number 7. The Lisbon Tram 28, Portugal. Tram 28 in Lisbon isn't weird because of how it's powered or how steep it is. It's weird because of where it goes. This vintage tram, using cars from the 1930s, navigates streets so narrow that you can reach out the window and touch the buildings on both sides. It climbs hills so steep that the tram tilts at alarming angles, and it makes turns so tight that the wheels scream and the whole car shudders. The route winds through Lisbon's oldest neighborhoods, through streets that were never designed for any kind of vehicle. The tram squeezes through gaps that seem impossible. It passes so close to buildings that you can see into people's apartments. In some places, the tram literally brushes against parked cars. What makes this truly weird is that it's not a heritage railway or a tourist attraction. It's a regular public transport service. Locals use it daily. It often runs around every 10 minutes, and you can ride with a standard Lisbon transit ticket. Prices vary. But tourists have discovered it, and now Tram 28 is packed. Pickpockets work the crowded cars. The experience has become less about transportation and more about survival. But it's still weird, still fascinating, and still operating on streets that seem physically impossible for a tram to navigate. Number 6. The Oberweissbach Mountain Railway, Germany. This railway in Thuringia, Germany, has 2 sections. The first section is a normal funicular railway climbing a mountain. Nothing too weird about that. But the second section? The second section is a train that runs on a track so steep that the cars are built at an angle. The floor of the car is tilted to match the grade of the track. When the train is on level ground, the floor is slanted. When it's on the steep section, the floor is level. But here's the really weird part. This railway was built in 1922 to transport goods and people to mountain villages. And it's still doing that today. It's not a tourist railway. It's actual transportation. Locals use it to get to work, to go shopping, to visit family. They ride a train where the floor is permanently tilted, and they don't think twice about it. The railway also has another strange feature. In winter, when snow makes the roads impassable, the railway becomes the only way in or out of some villages. It's been operating for over 100 years, and it's still essential infrastructure. You can ride it for about €5 round trip. And yes, standing on a tilted floor in a moving train is as disorienting as it sounds. Number 5. The Gelmer Funicular, Switzerland. The Gelmer Funicular in Switzerland has a maximum gradient of 106%. That alone makes it one of the steepest railways in the world. But what makes it truly weird is why it exists. This railway was built to service a hydroelectric dam. It was never intended for passengers. It was built to move workers and equipment up a nearly vertical mountainside. But then tourists discovered it, and the operators realized they could make money by letting people ride it. So now, this industrial railway that was designed for workers in hard hats is carrying tourists in hiking boots. The cars are open-sided. There's no roof. You're essentially riding in a metal cage up a cliff face at a 106% gradient with nothing but a safety bar between you and a very long fall. The ride takes about 12 minutes. You climb about 1,200 feet, and the views are spectacular, assuming you can take your eyes off the cliff face you're climbing. At the top, there's a dam and a mountain lake, but honestly, most people ride it for the experience of the railway itself. Tickets cost around 12 Swiss francs one way. The railway operates from June to October, weather permitting, and it's not for people with a fear of heights. This is industrial infrastructure repurposed as a tourist attraction, and it feels like it. It's raw, it's exposed, and it's absolutely weird. If you're enjoying this countdown of Europe's weirdest train rides, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. And subscribe, because we've got more bizarre railways coming your way. Trust me, the top 4 on this list are even stranger than what we've covered so far. Number 4, the Pilatus Railway, Switzerland. The Pilatus Railway holds the world record for the steepest rack railway, with a maximum gradient of 48%. That's nearly 1 foot of elevation gain for every 2 feet of track. At that angle, you're not riding a train, you're practically climbing a ladder. But what makes the Pilatus Railway truly weird is the rack system it uses. Most rack railways use the apt system or the strub system, with vertical or angled teeth. The Pilatus Railway uses a horizontal rack system designed specifically for this railway. The cogwheels are mounted horizontally beneath the car, engaging with a rack that looks more like a ladder than traditional railway track. This unique system was necessary because the grades are so extreme that conventional rack systems wouldn't work. The railway was built in 1889, and engineers had to invent new technology just to make it possible. The result is a railway that looks and feels like nothing else. Riding the Pilatus Railway is surreal. You're tilted back at such an angle that you feel like you're going to slide out of your seat. The car climbs so slowly that you can hear every click of the cogwheel engaging with the rack. And the views? They're spectacular, but you're too busy processing the angle to fully appreciate them. The railway operates from May to November, weather permitting. A round-trip ticket costs around 72 Swiss francs. It's expensive, but it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You're riding the steepest rack railway in the world, using a system that exists nowhere else. That's pretty weird. Number 3, the Kiruna Mine Railway, Sweden. This railway is weird, not because of how it's built, but because of where it goes. The Kiruna Mine Railway runs into one of the largest underground iron ore mines in the world. And occasionally they offer tours where you go by bus down to LKAB's visitor center at about 540 meters, 1,770 feet underground. You board a regular-looking train car, then you descend, and descend, and descend. The tunnel gets darker, the air gets cooler, and you realize you're riding a train deeper underground than most subway systems go. At the bottom, you're in a massive cavern carved out of solid rock, where mining equipment the size of buildings extracts iron ore. What makes this truly weird is that this isn't a heritage railway or a museum. This is an active industrial railway in a working mine. The tours are offered because the mining company realized tourists would pay to experience something this unusual. But the railway itself exists purely for mining operations. Tours must be booked in advance through the mining company. They cost around 500 Swedish krona, approximately $45 US, and they're not offered year-round. But if you can get on one, it's an experience unlike anything else. You're riding a train into the earth, into a place where trains have no business being. That's weird in the best possible way. Number 2, the Schwebebahn Railway, Austria. The Schwebebahn Railway isn't weird because of its gradient, though at 26% it's certainly steep. It's weird because it still uses. The Schwebebahn line still operates steam, and it even preserves locomotives from the 1890s, with modern units handling much of the daily service, and the oldest engines appearing on special runs. These locomotives are over 130 years old. They're maintained to original specifications. They burn coal. They produce smoke. They make the sounds and smells of Victorian-era steam power. And they're not museum pieces, they're working locomotives, operating daily during the summer season. Riding behind one of these ancient steam engines is like time travel. You can smell the coal smoke. You can hear the locomotive working hard, its exhaust echoing off the mountains. You can see the fireman shoveling coal into the firebox. It's an authentic experience of 19th century mountain railway travel. But here's what makes it truly weird. These locomotives are still economically viable. They're still cheaper to operate and maintain than replacing them with modern equipment. So they keep running. Year after year, decade after decade, century after century. The railway operates from May to October. Tickets cost around 40 euros for a round trip. And yes, you're riding behind a steam locomotive that's older than your great-grandparents. That's not just weird, that's remarkable. Number 1. The Wengenalp Railway, Switzerland. The weirdest train ride in Europe is the Wengenalp Railway in Switzerland. Not because it's the steepest, though it's steep. Not because it's the oldest, though it's old. But because of where it goes and how it gets there. This railway connects Lauterbrunnen to Grindelwald, two valleys separated by a mountain ridge. But instead of going around the mountain or through a tunnel, the railway goes over it. It climbs from Lauterbrunnen to the mountain village of Wengen, then continues climbing to Kleine Scheidegg, a pass at 6,762 feet. Then it descends to Grindelwald on the other side. But here's the weird part. Wengen, the village halfway up, is car-free. The only way to reach it is by this railway or on foot. No roads, no cars, just the railway. So this isn't just a tourist train, it's the only transportation link for an entire village. Residents use it to commute to work in the valleys below. They use it to bring up groceries, furniture, building materials. Everything that enters or leaves Wengen goes on this railway. So you're riding a mountain railway that's simultaneously a tourist attraction and a lifeline for a community. You're sharing the train with tourists taking photos and locals carrying shopping bags. The train stops at a village that exists in a kind of time warp where the 21st century arrived by 19th century technology. The railway has been operating since 1893. It uses a rack and pinion system to climb the steep grades, and it runs year-round because Wengen needs it. In winter, it carries skiers. In summer, it carries hikers. And year-round, it carries the residents of a village that chose to exist without cars. You can ride it with a regular Swiss rail pass or buy individual tickets for around 40 to 60 Swiss francs, depending on the route. The journey from Lauterbrunnen to Grindelwald via Kleine Scheidegg takes about 90 minutes, and every minute is weird in the best possible way. So there you have it. The 10 weirdest European train rides of all time. From trains powered by water to trains that climb at impossible angles. From trains that run through people's living rooms to trains that descend into mines. These railways prove that European engineers have never let common sense get in the way of a good idea. These aren't just tourist attractions. Most of them are working railways, serving real transportation needs in the strangest ways possible. They're proof that sometimes the weirdest solution is the best solution. That sometimes you need to build a train that hangs over a river, or climbs a vertical cliff, or runs through a car-free village. So here's my question for you. Which of these weird railways would you ride first? Are you brave enough for the Gelmer funicular? Curious enough for the Kiruna Mine Railway? Or do you want the time travel experience of the Schafberg Steam Railway? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this tour of Europe's weirdest train rides, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We've got more bizarre railways and hidden rail adventures coming your way. Until next time, remember that the weirdest journeys often make the best stories. Safe travels.